Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Wassalatu wassalamu ala Sayyidina wa Habibina wa Azimina Rasulillah wa ala alihi wa sahbihi at-tayyibin at-tahirin. So the author said, may Allah Ta'ala have mercy on him. Procuring, controlling, owning, taking, claiming, and entitlement. Toy, what does all of that mean? Procuring means like getting something. Controlling means having something under your control. Doesn't mean you own it, for example. Also, procuring doesn't mean you took it lawfully. Procuring means getting something. Controlling means having something under your control. Doesn't mean you own it necessarily. Owning, that's clear. Taking, like stealing, for example, or even finding something. Claiming, like claiming land, claiming a lost item. And entitlement, meaning having permission, being entitled, or being rightful, having a right. The author said, the owner in reality is Allah Rabbul Alameen. Rabbul Alameen means the owner of all the creation. Malikul Mulk, which means the owner of the dominion. The human's ownership is figurative. That means it's not a true ownership. And God's ownership is true and absolute. It is the real ownership. Because He is the one that no one can tell Him what to do. No one can order Him or forbid Him. And we are those who are commanded and forbade, even in our own possessions. So had we been the true owners of those things, we would not have been commanded to do anything with them or forbidden from doing anything with them. But because truly someone else owns them, then the true owner of those things has the right to command us and forbid us. He is not owned, and He does not need anything. He does with His creation what He wills, and He rules His creations by whatever rules He wills. What is good and valid is what He says, and as His messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam conveys. Some things cannot be kept in possession. That means you can't have them. Like pigs and golden and silver utensils according to what is correct. So pigs, you cannot have them. You cannot keep them. You cannot have them in possession. Golden and silver utensils according to what is correct, you cannot keep them. Even without using them. And there is a saying that you can keep them without using them. Not what is lightly plated. What is lightly plated by gold or silver. That means if you were to expose the gold or silver plating to fire, you would not be able to collect any gold or silver from that thing that you exposed to the fire. The thing itself is not golden or silver, but it is plated with gold or silver. Then the rule is as I just stated to you. If there's enough plating on there that you could expose that to fire and collect the gold or silver from it, then that's haram too. So you cannot have golden or silver utensils, nor what is heavily plated, but you can't have what is lightly plated. Keeping a dog not for guarding or hunting and the like makes one's reward decrease daily. If you have a dog for no purpose, like mentioned here, then your reward on a daily basis decreases and decreases by a very significant amount. Mere seizure of something does not dictate ownership. Seizure means taking it by your hand. That's what's meant here. Having it in your hand, taking it, that doesn't mean you own it. So mere seizure of something does not dictate ownership. Like untanned skin. You had a dead animal and you skinned it. You pulled its skin off. You skinned it. One owns it after tanning it. One owns that skin after tanning it. So mere seizure, just having it in your hand, that's not enough to say that you own it. And mere ownership does not permit dealing. So just because you have something in your hand doesn't mean you own it. And if you do own something, doesn't mean that you can deal with it. So one would need to learn before dealing. One may give something while wanting it back, with or without profit, or while seeking something else in return. So you have something. It's yours. You can give it while wanting it back. That's permissible. And that has various scenarios. Or you can give it without wanting it back. That has scenarios. So one may give something while wanting it back. And there's scenarios for this. So he could give something while wanting it back with a profit, or without a profit, with or without a profit. So you can say to someone, this is my thing here. You can hold it and just give it back to me. I don't want anything. Or you can say, here, this is this thing of mine. I want it back from you, but I want you to pay for it while you have it. That's valid also. It's a different type of deal, though. What do you call that one? So if you say to someone, you can hold this and I just want it back, I don't want anything in return. What kind of deal is that? You can tell me the Arabic name or the English name. 10. 9. Lending. Yes. Lending an item. So how about when you give someone your item, but you want it back with profit, with something else in return? You want the thing back and you want a profit along with it. What type of deal is that? 10. Not qirad. 9. 8. 7. 6. 5. 4. Renting, exactly. You rented it. Say, hey, here's my car. I'll let you use my car for $100. But then there's rules that go with it, like how long, right? So we'll come to that, inshallah. So one may give something while wanting it back, with or without a profit. Both of those are permissible. Or while seeking something else in return, meaning he may give something while seeking something else in return, not wanting it back, seeking something else in return. So what type of deal is that? Giving something, seeking something else in return. What is that? That should be easy. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5. Bartering, correct. Which also, give me another word for it. 4, 3, 2. Selling, correct. Both of those are correct. So, one may give something while wanting it back, with or without a profit, or while seeking something else in return. He obtains permanent ownership of an item or a right. Permanent ownership. He obtains permanent ownership of an item, a thing, or permanent ownership of a right. We'll talk about it. By a purchase, so he can buy it. It becomes permanently his. Or a gift. Someone gave it to him. Now it's permanently his. With details we'll talk about, inshallah. Or inheritance. He inherited it. Now it's his permanently. He owns it now. Permanent ownership. So one obtains permanent ownership of an item or a right by a purchase or a gift or inheritance. And he obtains temporary ownership of a right by a rental, not the item. By renting the item, you do not gain any ownership of the item. So by renting, you get ownership, a temporary ownership of the right to the thing, not the thing itself. By buying, you own the thing itself. Or by buying, you may own a right, which we'll talk about, inshallah. A dowry can be for money or for a benefit. A dowry can be for money or for a benefit. So, according to Ash-Shafi'i, if you marry a woman, or if you are a woman getting married, the dowry can be money. And I mean by money, you know what we mean by money, like cash or property. Like jewelry, like a car or a house or whatever, clothing, etc. That's money. All of that is money. So it can be monetary. The dowry can be monetary, has a monetary value, or a benefit. Like it can be for teaching her mukhtasar, for example. Teaching her how to recite Quran, or how to read and write, or how to sew, etc. Or taking her to Hajj, for example. If he neither wanted it back nor anything in return, so what if he gave something away and he didn't want it back? And he didn't want anything in return? Yani, let's back up. He could give something away while wanting it back, right? With a return or without a return, meaning with a profit or without a profit. Or he might give something, but he wants something else in return. So what's the contrary to that? He might give something without wanting it back, and without wanting any return. So he might give something without wanting it back, but he wants something else in return. That's a sale. But he might give something without wanting it back and without wanting anything else in return also. And then there's different scenarios for that. Then he may give away something. He's giving it away as a charity, as a donation, as a gift, for example. Then he may give away something without putting it in another's ownership, or by putting it in someone's ownership. Meaning, okay, now we're talking about giving something away. He gave something without wanting anything in return, so he gave it away. Did he actually give it to someone so they can own it? Maybe. So when you do give something away, you might give it away by making someone own it. They took it from you and now they own it. Or you gave it away, but without letting someone else own it, without putting it in someone else's ownership. How can that be? Like when you give away something consumable, like food. It's consumable. You didn't sell it. You didn't give it as a gift. You said, here, eat some food. It's as if you said, here, eat some of my food that I own. I allow you to eat my food that I own. You may swallow my food that I own. So you're giving it to him without wanting anything in return and without making him have it also. He doesn't own it. You're allowing him to use yours. That's one case. That's an example of giving something away without putting it in someone's ownership. Or another example is making a dedication. Like you say, I dedicate this house as a masjid. I dedicate this land as a Muslim cemetery. So now you gave it away. It's not yours anymore. But you didn't give it to anyone in particular. So you didn't give it to someone to own it. You gave it away without putting it in anyone's ownership. Or by putting it in someone's ownership, you can give something away for free. By putting it in someone's ownership, like giving a gift or a donation or a charity. There's another case when someone might give something, but he wants something else in return. Yani he wants a return. A person might give something and he wants a return for it, and it's not a sale. He doesn't get the same thing back. It's not lending. He gave something and he gets it back. Yani he gave something without getting the same thing back. And without selling the thing that he gave. What is that? He gave something without getting the same thing back and without selling the thing. You gave it, you want a return, but it's not lending an item that you get back. You're not getting the same thing back. That's the question. That's part of the question. What you gave, you're not getting it back. And you didn't sell the thing that you gave also. What type of deal could that be? 5, 4. Well, you don't get anything back for a donation. Dua? No.
Monetary loan?
A loan. Barakallahu feek. Yes. That's a monetary loan. Yes. So you say, I'll give you $100. You think you're gonna get the same $100 back? Not usually, right? You don't give it so that you get the same $100 back, but you do want a return, right? You're not giving it for free. You're not selling it, so that's a loan. MashaAllah. Barakallahu feekum. So, a dowry can be for money or for a benefit. If he neither wanted it back nor anything in return, then he may give away something without putting it in another's ownership or by putting it in someone's ownership. By the way, brothers and sisters, so if you don't have a copy of this thing that we're looking at on the screen, I hope you're taking notes, inshallah. You should take notes. I think that we, as students of knowledge, because of the technology that we have access to, have reached a very dark place. A place so dark that the students of knowledge, I don't know if you can call them students of knowledge, they don't even want to take notes. Like, if I don't send this file to some people, they won't even write it down, even though it's there and they got access. They see it, they won't write it down because they don't write anymore. People don't write anymore. A partnership grants 2 or more people a percentage of ownership. Now we're talking about 2 or more people owning one thing. That's sharika, partnership. Even without determined portions, like without saying the west wing is mine, the east wing is yours, or the upper floor is mine, the lower floor is yours, without any of that. You just both own it, but by percentage. Meaning 50% is mine, 50% is yours, or 30% is mine, 70% is yours, etc. With no borders. No physical borders. So a partnership grants two or more people a percentage of ownership even without determined portions. An intellectual property is an invalid innovation. That's not something even owned in the first place because it doesn't exist. Any question about that? You said, what is meant by intellectual property? Copyright. Intellectual property is that they say, because of the effort that you put mentally in writing a book or inventing an invention or something like that, that you have an intellectual property, your intellectual property, but you have to register that. Intellectual property is basically copyright. Wafiq. And what they're saying is that, why are they calling it intellectual property? Because what they want to do is find a way to keep something, to sell it and keep it. How can you sell something and keep it? That's what those cheaters want to do. Is there any way I can sell something and still keep it? So they said, hey, someone said, I don't know who, I have an idea. And then they came up with copyright, intellectual property. You said, does the copyright judgment apply for patents? Can you tell me what's the difference between the patent and the copyright? Or can you tell me exactly what is a patent? What do you understand from it? Yeah, to be honest with you, I'm not sure what's exactly intended by patent. But anything that means that you prevent someone from copying something that's invalid, something that they own, or even if they don't own it, like if you were, let's say, inventing something and then someone looked at it and said, hey, I can make that too. I know how to do that. You can't say, hey, I already put a patent on this. You cannot do it. I will sue you. That's haram. You can't do that. Any other question? You said patent is for inventions? Okay. So, yeah. So that's basically copyright for inventions, right? Okay. Yeah, so no, copyright is invalid. The author said, it is forbidden to sell what no slave of God owns, like 1. Filth, such as a trained dog. Why do we say trained dog here, not just dog? Because a trained dog has a benefit, a great benefit. Despite its great benefit, you cannot sell it because it's najasa. Wine prepared for vinegar. Why we said wine prepared for vinegar, not just wine? Because it's permissible for you to make vinegar, and in order for you to make vinegar, you have to make wine. So you're going to turn your juice into wine so that you can turn the wine into vinegar. So even though it wouldn't be haram for you to have wine in that instance, you can't sell it because it's najasa. Blood, haram meat, and manure, not the filthy thing that is pure in itself and can be purified, like a shirt that has some najasa on it, and you can clean the najasa off of it. You can still sell it without cleaning the najasa off of it, because it's possible to clean it. As long as it's possible to remove the najasa from it, you can sell it even without removing the najasa first. And not ivory according to some, meaning some said ivory is not najasa, so you can sell it. And this is why an animal cannot be sold by weight. Why? Because if you sell the animal by its weight, then among what contributes to its weight is the blood in its veins and the urine in its bowels, in its bladder, the feces in its intestines, the najasa that's in its body. That would contribute to its weight, so that would mean that some of the money is going to the najasa. So you cannot sell an animal by weight. A live animal, I mean. You cannot sell a live animal by weight. So what do you do then if someone wants to sell you the animal by weight? Let's say you want to go slaughter your own chicken. So they say, we sell our chickens $5 per pound. So they're selling it by weight. Or $5 per kilo. What do? You argue with him right then and there, and then he tells you, no, he doesn't listen to you. Maybe he will listen to you. You can try. Or what you can do is, let him weigh the animal. Then let him state the price he wants. Then after he states the price he wants, just buy the animal for that price. Don't buy it for the weight. You understand? So when he puts the chicken in the scale, and then he says, okay, this one is going to cost you about $7. Say, okay. I'll buy the chicken for $7. That's it. Not I buy it by its weight. Don't agree to that. Don't put that in your contract, your verbal contract. Just say a valid contract. Your valid contract is to say, I buy this chicken from you for the price that you want. And that's fine. The Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, certainly Allah forbade the sale of wine, forbidden meat, pig, and idols. 2. A freeman, even a found or abandoned child, for we must assume he is free, so you cannot sell him.